Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel here on this Wednesday afternoon where we have another Football Manager 2017 experiment for you. Now, you can see from the title that today we're going to be taking a look at Marko Arnautovic, who's currently processing through a £24 million move from the Potters Stoke City and is due to undergo a medical within the next 24 hours. It's believed to be at some point on this Wednesday, and that move has been put through. He handed in a transfer request last week in a bid to force through a move. They had a couple of bids rejected by Stoke, but they've managed to get a third offer through, and things are looking good for that move. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go in and we're going to experiment with this West Ham side, who are currently predicted to finish 10th in the league in this Premier League season. We've used the Sort It Outside custom start date tool and also the updated database where a lot of the moves have gone through. We'll have a look at the squad first of all, and as you'll see first of all that Joe Hart isn't in the squad. He's moved on loan, I believe it was yesterday that was put through. I haven't put him in the squad just because this experiment is about Arnautovic, so it'll be interesting to see how they get on with Adrian and Darren Randolph. But yeah, Arnautovic has got really good stats. He's going to add that little bit of extra class into this West Ham team. He's got really good dribbling and first touch stats, technique. His passing's decent. He's got good pace, so those wide positions, he's going to be a real threat for West Ham in this game. Scored 16 goals in 93 appearances for Stoke. It's a good bit of business. The Austrian attacking midfielder will bring some real good attacking flair to this West Ham side. So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to now simulate a year into the future, and we're going to see just exactly where West Ham finish in the Premier League and what sort of effect that Marko Arnautovic has on this West Ham side. So join me again in a second when we'll be back with the results of that. Welcome back then, guys. Now, the first thing to note here is that Slaven Bilic was sacked and relieved of his duties as West Ham manager on the 16th of December 2017. Obviously, they've got a new manager in place now, so let's have a look, see how they've got on. We're on the 31st of May 2018. Where did they finish in the Premier League? What sort of effect did Marko Arnautovic have on West Ham's fortunes? We're about to find out. First things first then, Frank de Boer has taken over as manager of West Ham after the sacking of Slaven Bilic. He has led them to 13th position in the Premier League, somewhat a little bit lower than expected. They were expected to finish in 10th. They have, however, finished down in 13th. Now, they're only 2 points off West Brom in 11th, so they weren't too far away from their prediction. Let's go and look into the side, and let's have a look at Marko Arnautovic has got on. As you can see here, he's played 53 games, scoring 5 goals, 7 assists, average rating of 6.94. His last 5 games was 7.04. His value is 18 million, which was the same when we started this experiment. So as we can see here, his stats pretty much about the same, really. A couple of minor improvements, not much doing, but he's played a lot of games this season. So let's go and have a look in his stats and see where he's excelled and where he hasn't. So as we can see here on this stats page, with Arnautovic in the side, they have won 21 games from 54. He's had an average rating of 6.94. His best was 7.09, worst 6.4. He's covered a total distance of 279 kilometres, an average of 6 kilometres per 90 minutes. He scored 5 goals, 65 shots total in all those games, 22 on target, 34% accuracy rating, 43 off target. It's not very good, that, got to say. 848 minutes on a pitch per goal. Shots on target of 0.47 per game. Average dribbles made of 3.63 per game. Now here we go. It's the passing stats. So he's made 1,512 passes. 774 succeeded at a 51% rating. 24 key passes in amongst that also. And a failed amount of passes of 738. Minutes on a pitch per assist of 606. Passes completed per 90 minutes of 16.42 with 0 fouls against. His tackling defensive stats, he made 45 tackles, winning 21 of them, 47%, losing 24. He had no key tackles in there, 34 interceptions, 0.45 tackles won per game with 2.31 fouls made per game. I mean, I'd say that it's kind of in between two things here where the transfer is a good transfer given that he played 53 games in the West Ham side. Now let's have a look at the players that have played in terms of appearances. Now, Aaron Cresswell was the top player with 55 games played. Then was Pedro Obiang, Marko Arnautovic on 53. So in terms of turning up every week and playing, I'd say he was a very good acquisition for West Ham. Didn't get any injuries, played a lot of games for them, did relatively well in the outset. Not quite as good as Pedro Obiang and Aaron Cresswell, Mark Noble as well, but better than Sofiane Feghouli. However, you'd think he probably would have done a little bit better than that. I mean, 5 goals in 53 games from an attacking midfielder. I mean, let's have a look at the tactics and where he was deployed. I mean, you can see here he's on wide left. You'd expect a little bit more output there from Marko Arnautovic, I've got to say. And for the likes of £24 million, you know, you'd expect a little bit more creativity from him. Let's have a look at the kind of other players that would play in that position. Let's have a quick look here. Let's get that back into terms of position. So, I mean, Michail Antonio, 9 games played, 3 goals, 37 sub appearances. There wasn't a fat lot in amongst that, really, to be honest. So then, in summary, whilst we kind of got a lot of games here from Marko Arnautovic with 53 in total, 35 games coming in the Premier League out of 38, he only scored 1 goal. Now, his creative output leaves a lot to be desired here, with just 3 goals in the European Cup, 5 goals in total, 7 assists in total, 7 yellow cards and 1 red in the Premier League. His creativity wasn't really what I expected from him. I kind of expected him to be a lot more involved in the West Ham goals. Now, that could be due to them playing the ball down different channels that wasn't really involving him in the attacking third. But that said, whilst he will play a lot of games, for £24 million, you do expect a lot better from those sort of acquisitions. So what we're going to do is we're going to simulate another year into the future and see if that has any bearing on his ability at West Ham and whether he improves on what we've seen so far. So we've seen another year into the future then, and it looks like Frank de Boer was sacked after 347 days in charge of West Ham United. Terry Wesley stepped in for 12 days in a caretaker position role before Stefano Colantuno came in on the 27th of December 2018, and West Ham have finished 17th in the Premier League, narrowly avoiding relegation by 4 points. Another slump down the table. Let's have a quick look how Marko Arnautovic has got on this time round, and again he's played 28 games this time, 3 goals, 5 assists, 1 man of the match for a 6.91 average rating. Compared to the whole team, he was around 6th or 7th best out of all of the players. Reasonable output, not as good as we expect given the amount paid for him, but let's have a quick look. So of the matches he played in, they won 9 of 31. He got 1 man of the match, scoring 3 goals. He had 35% of his shots on target, 34 shots in total from 28 appearances. 22 of those were off target. There's 805 minutes on the pitch per goal, 0.45 shots target per 90 minutes, and 3.54 dribbles made per 90 minutes. A total of 784 passes were made by him, 18 of which were key. 52% of those were succeeded, 380 failed, 48% of the passes failed, 15 passes roughly per game per 90 minutes. And a view to his defensive duties is tackling. He had 16 tackles in all those games, won 6, 38%, lost 10, 23 interceptions, roughly 0.22 tackles won per 90 minutes with 2.2 fouls conceded per 90 minutes. I think on the whole, he's a good signing, but I think 24 million is a lot of money, although in this day and age it's kind of how things are going nowadays. He will play a lot of games. He won't get that injured. He's played 66 games in total for West Ham since his move, scoring 4 goals. So if you're looking for someone that's going to start scoring goals for your West Ham, perhaps Arnautovic isn't the option. But yeah, I'll leave it up to you. Let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Is this going to be a good transfer for West Ham, or is he going to be a failure? Do leave your comments in the comment section down below. Do check out Mother Experiments on the channel. There was one released yesterday of Britt Assombalonga at Middlesbrough, who did quite well for them in the first season, but wasn't really deployed in the Premier League. And also, there's Stowe Bucharest series and stuff, and plenty of other stuff to have a look at. So do check out the channel and have a look around. But for today, guys, this experiment has now run its course. I hope you've enjoyed it. Catch you again next time.